This week's episode is sponsored by Door Insurance Group, protecting families, securing assets, and helping you. Hashtag insure the bag when it comes to your life, property, auto, and commercial business needs.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast, Real Talk Atlanta. We're your hosts, River the Realtor.
I'm Ashley Lorraine.
I'm Taisha Renee.
And I'm Nika W.
And y'all, this is kind of like a quick but unconventional episode of Real Talk Atlanta because I think with the buyer success stories, a lot of people have been like, all right, how can I really step into this? And so although we've done an episode pretty much talking about how you can get into home ownership and buying, we're going to do what we call like a Real Talk refresher and kind of give y'all those key points and key things that you need to be looking for or doing if you're looking into getting into home ownership, right?
Yeah.
So the peak of the week is that people want to buy homes, and today we're going to educate y'all on
Period.
that. So let's just dive right into the topic. I think the very, very, very first thing, and one of the first things I ask on my console is, what are you working at these days? Right.
Okay.
Employment is a really, really big thing because, you know, you have to give your taxes and it has to be for the last 2 years, whether you're W-2 or you're 1099. So employment is one of the very first things that we kind of confirm before we can get you pre-approved for a home loan.
And keeping in mind that 2 years is not 2 years at the exact same job, but ideally 2 years in the same industry. So like you don't want to be a teacher and then go and be a nurse.
Right.
Because it's like it doesn't show consistency in your employment. So just making sure like if you're switching jobs, just making sure it's in the same industry.
Yeah.
It's in the same field.
Yeah.
Yep.
And keep those employment gaps really, really short, right? For previous years, in case if they have to go back a couple years to make it work.
Yeah, if you have an employment gap, typically what we'll look for, especially like if COVID affected your job or anything like that, if you were off work for 2 months, we just want to see you on, you know, your current employment for 2 months and then filing your taxes, right? A lot of times with self-employed people, we get this like, oh, I make all the money in the world, but if you didn't file the taxes, you didn't make the money.
Right.
Okay, if it's not on paper, it never happens. So if you are self-employed, we encourage you to go file your taxes. Make sure you have 2 years of consistent 1099 income and do not write everything off. Business owners, I know y'all love that. I made $200,000.
Look at me when you say that. I need to hear you say
Business
that.
owners, I know y'all love this.
only.
I made $200,000, but if you had $190,000 worth of business expenses, you actually only made $10,000, and you cannot buy a home. So just be mindful, consistent income, consistent tax history, and make sure you have good taxable income that we can go off of.
Yep.
I know this is something we may have mentioned before. Of course, you want to follow your dreams. If your dream is to own your own business, start your own company, that's cool and all. But if you have a W-2, get your house first before you do that, okay?
Buy your house,
Major
chase
tip.
your
And then
dream.
quit
Exactly. So many people are so quick to quit their jobs. Like, I'm going to start my business, but I want to buy a house. Well, you should have kept your job
Should've
to
kept the
do
job.
that.
Yeah,
So,
it's
But
way
in the
easier.
event-
It's
Yeah,
way
way
easier to do
easier.
that.
In the
Yeah.
event that you do, though, you can go back and get a W-2 because I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
I was an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. I was
Same.
like, let me
I'm
go
doing
get
it
that.
now.
Let me go back and get the W-2 so I can get the house and then peace out.
Yeah, we
So
don't
if
want
you
you
are
to start
in a
over.
W-2 role and you have that consistent income, literally buy your house, then go chase your dream. We all for entrepreneurship here,
Yep.
okay?
Yes.
So kind of moving forward, I think another really, really big question that we always ask is, I try to keep it cute. Where or, at or about where does your credit fall?
Where do you
right?
think you are? Where's the last time you checked it?
Who
Who
knows
arranged
where
you
you
that?
You know where
So kind of
you
talk
at.
a little bit about the credit requirements and like what they can be expecting.
Yeah, I always tell my clients, I used to say 620, but now I've started saying 640 just because, again, the better the credit, the better your interest rate. And I heard that that's kind of changing, but we'll get into that later. But with the increase in interest rates, the better the credit, just the better the credit. So although FHA can accept it to like 580,
580.
and conventional can do 620, just try to have it over a 640 to be safe, just in the event something happens.
Yeah,
Exactly.
With credit history is also important,
Yep.
right? Making sure that credit history is not really low because then they don't want you to open a new card, be added to a trade line and all that stuff. So as well, the credit score could be right at 640 or right at 580, but if you don't have enough credit history to back that up, then it's
Raise
really
red flags.
Yeah.
Something that really, a piece that I've always taken with me, and this was like when we first started the show. Y'all remember when we had Tanya Blanchard on the show?
Shout out to Tanya.
Shout out to her. But something that she mentioned, and they see this when they run your credit and they look at your file, they see if on any of your bank accounts, if you've had insufficient funds within the last year.
Or late payment.
Exactly, that too. So
Overdrafts.
yeah, all of that. So if you are someone and because y'all know, they send the email, you know if you had an insufficient funds or late fee, whatever it could be. And her advice was if you do have that within the last year, they recommend just close the account.
Close it out.
Just close it. Act like you never knew her. Just close it.
Navy vet. Who is that?
Yeah.
Literally, if you do have anything that will show on your credit report, late payments, insufficient funds, or anything like that, close that account. Start fresh, start new, and make sure you always have enough, saved up to kind of cover any auto payments or auto bills that'll be coming out.
Yeah.
But I think Taisha brings up a good point. We are in a high interest rate state of the market right now. So the higher your credit, the better rate you have. And in turn, the better rate you have, the better mortgage payment you'll get.
Yeah, the more you can afford.
The more you can afford.
Yeah,
So
more
keep
housing
your
you
credit
can
score, like I said. I say 620. Ideally, I would love for you to have a 640. Anything above that is just
700.
Yeah.
800.
Okay.
Anything
Off
above
the chart.
that.
That's important.
Right. Anything above that, I think is just added fuel to the fire. But definitely want to get yourself in what we like to call qualifying range, which I think 620 to 640 is going to be really good for that.
That's a
That's
safe
good
spot.
because y'all know even like mortgage credit scores are a little different than what like it shows on Experian or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a
Car.
little lower. A couple
Don't
points
tell
lower.
me what you saw on Credit Karma.
Yeah.
Right.
Not the
Can't
same
do nothing
thing.
with that.
We'll link some free resources to get your actual mortgage credit score so you guys can kind of see where you are before reach out to a realtor about what it is you want to do.
Yep.
So I think inherent in credit score is something else. I say it all the time, but you got to pay to play. And when you buy a home, of course, there are going to be some out of pocket things. So we also ask your assets, right? How much do you have saved up? If you find the home you want to close on today, how much money can you really give towards that? And so what do you guys think about in terms of savings, how much they should have?
I say anything above 30,000 is great to start.
Oh,
and I say
30,000?
You got money.
30,000, and I'm not talking about just
30,000.
incentives. Of course, we can help you get those, like the closing costs and the deals and all that stuff. But I feel like after you moved in the house, it's so many things that you still want to have that cushion saved.
Right.
And you
That's
still
true.
want to not feel like, because I hate going through the process where you're like, I just have enough to make it. And that makes it very stressful and it not really a smooth transition.
Not flexible enough.
Not flexible enough,
Yeah.
but also it becomes a little stressful on the buyers. I can feel it because it's like they're fighting for their lives. It's like,
Right.
after I buy this house, like I have to save my whole savings
I
all
can't
over
eat.
again.
Yeah.
I would
No,
rather
that's
for
a good
you.
one.
I would rather for you to just be comfortable,
Be
be
comfortable.
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have enough money, even though we're not gonna use the whole 30,000.
You don't
right?
want to be
Yeah.
house
But
poor.
you're gonna be more happy going
Yeah.
through. Like if I say, hey, I'm 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, you're not gonna get mad because because you're just like
When
just
people
through the
spend their
attitude,
last, when
yeah,
people
the
spend their
last.
last, I think it does kind of
Exactly.
bring on a different thing. I will say this: I think 30,000 is a little steep, so I would probably contest that a little bit. I'm more of a percentage girl, right?
I
I
was
think
just about to
the
say that.
percentage is going to be a little different. I think someone who's buying $1 million asset versus a $250,000 asset, what you need to save is a little bit different.
Mhm.
I would say 6% of everything because I think that will encompass
price
a
won't
down
matter, yeah.
payment
Yeah.
and closing costs, and that also doesn't take into account the incentives we negotiate on your behalf.
Right.
We're in a market that it's not easy to buy a house, so if you get in the house, we gonna get you something on the
Right.
back
Right.
end.
Mhm.
So I think 6% of the sales price. But to Nika's point, you don't want to be house poor, right?
Mhm.
You don't want to buy a home, and I think we've said this a million times. And all you can afford to do is live
Live
in
in
it.
the
Right,
home.
right.
A
Exactly.
house
And when
is
I
nice,
said-
but a couch goes a long
Go
way.
away. And then when I said 30,000, I'm saying to start out on this market. Regardless, like if we're on a lower price point, I'm just saying to start out.
I know I
To
definitely
be-
didn't have 30,000. Anything when I bought my first home.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the same thing. I give percentages. Whatever you're shopping at, it's a percentage. I do 6 or 7%, which of course you guys should know covers your down payment, your closing costs, your home inspection, and your home appraisal.
Yeah.
Sure.
The 4 things that you're covering before you get into the house. And I always say, even if you're not going to spend it all, you want a little bit of cushion because you got to get some furniture.
Right.
You may need to do a little bit of work if it's not, up to par, depending
For
on your
sure.
price point. So I do always say percentage as
I
well,
love it.
I
6
do
or
that too.
7%.
I always say 7% as well.
Mhm.
And I think, and if you checked out our last episode, Nika, you mentioned how you had a client who did down payment assistance.
Mhm.
Or no, I'm sorry, that was Taisha. They had down payment assistance and the program ended up running out of money before
Mhm.
closing. Like, I think a lot of clients, if they're using down payment assistance, they think that they don't have to have the funds saved, and that's just not the case.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
it's there to utilize as a resource, but you still want to have your ducks in a row. You still need money saved, even if you're using down payment assistance. Don't just rely on that. Of course, it's nice to have, but anything could happen. I always say 7%. typically they'll probably use about 6%, but there are unexpected expenses that come
Exactly.
up.
You do not want to be
It's out of our
100%
control.
dependent on anything or anyone, whether it's a seller, down payment assistance, none of that.
And then now lenders, right?
Okay.
Because now lenders are asking for cushions, like really big cushions that they don't need for you to close, but they just want to see it in your bank account.
Yep. And the good thing is, I think a lot of people, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, you may not know this, but you don't necessarily have to have that money in your bank account. If you have a 401k, you can use that.
Yeah,
true.
If you have different assets.
You can get gift funds.
Exactly, gift
parents,
funds as well.
You know?
So there is a little bit of flexibility. You don't have to have that money just sitting in your account. If you have other assets or resources, you can use that.
Give us a call. We'll take the shot.
I think home buying is like the perfect example of the more the merrier.
Right.
You can have 6%, but if you have 12%,
great.
the more
That's
great.
great. Yeah.
I think we love that even more. So I think I have to bring back my famous line. Y'all know, if y'all want to keep it P,
keep it at
43.
So debt to income, we talk a lot about debt to income ratio, and basically what that looks like is when you're getting pre-approved for a mortgage, we have to make sure that you can pay it, right? What a lender is going to look at is, okay, you might make $10,000 a month, but who else has to get paid before you can pay a mortgage? If you owe Peter, Paul, Nika, Ashley, and Taisha, well, hold on.
I'm going to want my money.
Yeah, I want my money too. So what a lender is basically trying to figure out is how much debt do you have in relation to how much you make? And how much more debt can we give you on a monthly basis for you to be able to pay that mortgage? So debt to income, if you take what you make and divide it by, your expenses, you want to be at or below 43% of that.
Yeah,
I always tell my clients, sorry, go ahead.
I always say that people don't realize that the DTI is usually what trips people up the most. Like that's the one that they're like, oh, I didn't expect that. But what I do like about when you're working with a good partner is if the DTI isn't in the perfect place, it's fixable. Like the lender will give you a mortgage ready plan that'll say, because a lot of people think I have to pay off this full balance for me to qualify. Most times you just have to pay it down, maybe $500, and it'll get you where you need to be. So I like how if you don't meet the DTI, there could be a way that you can get there if you just didn't, just buy a car.
I love that point.
You know what I'm saying? Something like that. Like, it's a way you can get it.
I love that point because I just did a consultation with one of my lenders. He literally pulled up the whole calculator that they use, their whole system. He was like, okay, if you pay this off, pay this off, pay this off. And I had one client, like, she didn't have a lot of debt, but she just purchased a car because she got in an accident. And that was the only thing that was holding her back.
Car notes,
student loans. Student loans.
I'm glad you mentioned. That's what I was going to say.
It's very important if you just purchased the car, fortunately. But if your income is great and can, balance it off, it's fine. But definitely wait after
purchase the car after closing. As soon as you leave the closing table, go get you a car.
Get it after.
They don't care.
Some people, that's what you did.
I closed on Thursday. I was at Mercedes on Friday. Give me my key.
I think something that's good to know, a lot of people don't know this, but if your car note has less than 10 payments, they don't include that in your DTI. So that's pretty cool.
I didn't even know that. That's nice.
Yeah, if it's less than 10 payments left on your car, they're not going to include that in your DTI.
I have plenty.
I got like double that. Years. What I was going to mention, a good thing about, or not a good thing, but a lot of people think that if they have student loans like myself, that they wouldn't be able to qualify because, as we all know, student loans are not cheap. They're thousands of dollars, depending on what you went to school for, how long you went to school. It can get pretty hefty, more than what you may even make in a year.
Yeah.
But just because you have student loans doesn't mean that you won't be able to qualify for a home. Something that's good to note is that a lot of people, even like myself, my student loans are on deferment right now, so I don't have to pay for them. But if you want to purchase a home, if your student loans are currently on deferment, most likely the lender is going to ask that you get on a payment plan because, again, they need to run the scenarios. Exactly, an income-based payment plan. Usually my clients will just choose the cheapest payment plan, as long as they can afford it, because the lender needs to see once you get in the house.
Account for.
Right.
Exactly, because you can get in the house. If they just imagine they calculate it without your student loans and everything's fine, then you add a couple $100 and now you have to eat ramen noodles. Like they need to be able
43 to 47.
Exactly.
I love noodles, but I like to eat them by choice.
Right. Exactly.
I think Ashley and Taisha kind of both brought up two quick things. And I think these are good nuggets for like student loans. So I think that's one of the things that knocks a lot of people out. One, income-based repayment plan. So for people who are coming out of college, especially, a lot of y'all graduate with no jobs. Trust me, I did too. Get on an income-based repayment because guess what? You don't have no income, okay? You're looking at a very, very low debt. The thing about deferment is your loans are in deferment, as long as you can show that they'll be in deferment for up to 12 months after you close, then they won't count that either. So if you do have these debts, I think Nika, again, brought up a good point. Don't try to figure it out yourself. Don't start paying stuff off like, I feel like if I do this, contact a lender. Let them give you a full mortgage plan and tell you, here are the debts that are conducive to you getting into a good DTI space and getting a good pre-approval.
Yeah.
Because y'all love to pay off a bill and then free up $22.
Yeah,
I
it didn't even make a difference.
I just used all my money for
that.
Like, you didn't even need that.
And you still pre-approved for the same amount.
Right.
So now you can't buy a washer, dryer, no fridge.
Girl, you can't even buy a house. Listen, reach out to the professionals. Let them give you a real outlook and overview and a scenario of what that's going to look like. So we talked about credit, employment, DTI, assets. Is there any
those are 4
last
gems.
nugget? I think the
That's
biggest
pretty much-
one. Wait, the biggest one.
Be
You are
ready.
looking to, well, hold on. If you're not
What'd you
ready,
say?
just close out, exit. That ain't even it. I think the biggest one is that if you are looking to purchase, you need to find a very trusted real estate professional.
That's a given. You know, y'all.
Come
you know
on
what
now,
it
but
goes.
But look, we're in the era of
We got
DIY.
great options.
Everybody think they can do it themselves.
themselves.
That's not the case. I think we talk about this a lot, but like Georgia is one of those places where there's no buyer attorney, there's no seller attorney. We all you got.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need us.
You
And make
need
sure you
us.
vet your realtors. It's important.
Yep.
Yeah, even if your realtor is not one of us, which again would be a little crazy.
Why would
but
that be?
Make sure y'all vetting the realtors and understanding, what it is they can bring to the table, what they can offer you if they do have services and products like down payment assistance, or do have lenders that'll hop in and give you guys mortgage plans. All those things are very, very important and they're necessities. I feel like to buying a house. So
Absolutely.
Those are the 4.
Save.
Save.
Yeah.
Those are the gems. 4 things to keep in mind.
Yep.
Write it down if you didn't.
Yep.
Go
Write
back
it
and
down.
rewatch.
Take
Just
a picture. I
rewind.
don't
Right.
care.
Just rewind.
Watch it
Write
over.
it down if you didn't, and then call us when you're ready.
Call us when y'all ready. You got a lot of brand new houses that just hit the market. Inventory is
lit.
Inventory lit, especially if you us.
Okay.
'Cause we know where to find
We
it.
know where
So,
it's at.
yeah, if y'all looking to buy a house, y'all know exactly what to do. Follow these. I think we can at least kick it off to our favorite segment of the day.
Question of the day.
Of course you
But
can.
Realtor Bay,
We got
come
here
on.
quick.
We did.
Straight
So
to the point.
yeah, favorite segment, the question of the day. So if this is your first time tuning in, we have this segment. It's called the question of the day, where we take questions from you guys, our audience, and you can submit them to us via Instagram. So be sure to follow us at Real Talk Atlanta or shoot us an email at realtalkatlpod@gmail.com. So this is more of a personal question because I feel like the last couple of weeks we've been talking about business a little too much.
Business is business.
Business is business.
Right? Can
have
you
a
ever really
little
talk about it
fun.
too much? But let's get a little spicy.
Okay.
Oh, God.
It's nothing crazy. Y'all know how I get. But the question for this week is, I want to know, what are y'all's biggest pet peeves? What is like an ick?
Oh, a real estate ick or like a personal ick?
No, let's get personal. Let's get personal. I don't like when people smack on their food. So there's that. I
I
hate
think
that.
mine is.
What a dig. That's why I'm like, that's a dig.
Yeah.
Oh, mine might be a little dig. I hate when people are late.
Oh.
She hate
I
us.
do.
Taisha, if you
I
hate me,
when
just
people
say
are
that.
late and then they don't tell you that they're going to be late. Because I
Look,
feel like,
Taisha.
okay, I
No,
feel like
I
was here early
respectful
today.
of my
Don't
time.
even do
Like, be
that.
respectful of my time.
I was here
Ashley
early
talking about she
today.
was here early today, but that's because she got the call time wrong. Let's be clear.
Exactly.
She thought call time was 12:30. It was 2.
Y'all need to do that every week.
No.
No, I'm always
No
on time.
sense.
And if I'm not on time, I'm texting the crew like, oh my God, I'm nervous.
Yeah,
I'm
you
going to be a minute late.
apologetic.
But like, just let people know. That's kind of my ick. Be on time.
Okay.
My ick is, what is my ick? I feel like what do you call, entitlement.
Oh,
Period.
that's a good
This
one.
is
I like
personal.
entitlement.
Period. You think because you this, you're supposed to have this? Is that
Yes,
the-
or not
Gotcha.
even. It's just like, I'm a giver, so
You
I
are.
give a lot, right?
Mhm.
So when you're kind of like, oh, why you ain't do this?
Mm.
It's just,
Who did? I told her to stop messing with this girl. I just
Stop
said
playing
that a
with
few
Nika.
times.
We don't play about
listen,
Nika.
I just don't like it because I give and I know when exactly to give.
Mhm.
So when you're entitled to it,
Mhm.
nah, I don't want to give.
and you
no
shouldn't
more.
You
give
ain't
to
getting
expect
nothing.
You
something.
know,
Right.
it's just
Yeah.
like, you messed it up. I had all this stuff planned in my head.
Now
for
you don't get nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Child,
Funny.
this question is very hard. Y'all know I'm icky Vicky, baby. Everything gets on.
JT.
Everything make me mad. I lead a group chat. These ladies can do anything. I will lead a group chat.
She was like, lunch?
Yeah,
Without
they
me?
was eating
Man.
lunch without me.
Like she did
What?
just have
Y'all
lunch.
just went to
With-
lunch
Literally
without
left the
us.
group chat. But I think I would probably say my biggest ick, y'all, my Chicago is coming out. I don't like people playing in my face. And what I mean by that is like,
like this.
now that might
Being
get you
funny.
scrapped.
Being funny.
But I think playing in my face, like, I'm a very smart girl. A very smart girl. So it kind of bothers me when people do stuff and they think they being slick or getting away with it.
They're
Like,
trying
you
to
a lot
get
of things
over.
smarter than me, just not one of them.
Period.
Playing in my face is like, I'm going to play with you, but like in the back of my head, like I have a very like elaborate plan about how I'm going to get back. And like once I have to have
devious.
get back with you, like I'm going to be getting at you forever.
Not Miss Get Back.
Me and your kids going to have get back. Like,
That's
do
what Jocelyn
not.
said.
Once we got beef, we going to
got
beef
beef.
forever.
She over it,
And that's the
You
thing
need your
about that.
doormat back.
Just be nice to me. Okay, right?
You need
Somebody
that
who
back.
stole my doormat. Just know. Anyway, don't play with me, y'all. Don't play with me. I won't play with y'all. I think I keep it real fair. I keep it peace. I keep
So
it all a good
basically,
time.
don't smack her on Ashley. Don't be late when you're dealing with me. Don't feel like you're entitled with Nika. And please,
How are we
Don't
friends?
play
Like,
with her.
This is
Do
a
not
catch
play in her
22.
face.
No, it's a catch-22 because every ick y'all have, like y'all do it to each other.
We
so.
just need to have a conversation off camera.
We
What's
share. We
going
having
on?
team bonding. So if y'all got some team bonding activities, leave them in the comments. But as usual, y'all, we really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you are a new buyer, you're just interested in purchasing, please take these tips and do not take them lightly. If you guys have questions, always reach out to us. Y'all know the girls love to have a good conversation. And
Yeah.
save, keep your debt low, keep your credit good, and call us.
And
Call
become-
us.
let's get it done before the end of the year
Okay.
or next year.
Yes,
Make
the
it
time
happen.
is now.
The
Actually,
time
it
is
was
now.
yesterday.
The time is
Yesterday.
now.
Time has passed.
So, yes, we will
Relax.
see y'all next week. Every Wednesday, y'all know where to find us. Real Talk Atlanta. We love y'all.
Bye.
Today's topic might be at its end, but the conversation never stops. If you liked what you heard, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
For more daily content from the ladies of Real Talk Atlanta, head over to any of our social media platforms to connect with us and let's talk.
As we put the real in real estate.